Time is 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Rissy.
Here.
Trustee Nordhook.
Here.
Supervisor Les Brentz.
Here.
Treasurer Corstange is absent and excused. Trustee Nordike.
Present.
Trustee Shipley.
Present and accounted for.
And Clerk Slater present.
Please rise if able for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion or discussion for approval of tonight's agenda?
Shipley makes a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Shipley, supported by Trustee Rizzi to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 4, approval of the board minutes from February 11th. Is there a motion or discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting of February 11th, 2026.
Support.
It's a motion by Trustee Shipley, supported by Trustee Rizzi to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no presentations this evening, now is the time for public comments about anything on tonight's agenda. So that would be the proposed updates to our IT system, also personal property taxes that have been delinquent, and also the resolution about the temporary moratorium on data centers. Anyone wishing to comment on those three items, please state your name and address for record keeping and limit your time to 3 minutes for the fairness of everyone in the township, not just those here tonight.
Hi there, Scott Van Salcom again. I'm for the data center moratorium, which is good, at least to see what other states have done and some of the issues. I did see something recently on the news out of Ohio where apparently some of the emissions out of the data centers is actually causing environmental issues for neighbors up to a half a mile away. For some minor particulates or whatnot. So obviously to actually see what has been done and where there are issues that have come up in other states before we allow them in our township would be a good thing. I also did see recently that the state rep is actually also introducing a moratorium bill. Who knows how long that'll take or if it'll go through in the state house to have a 1-year moratorium to not allow data centers in the whole state. So, I mean, obviously that could be a moot point, but we should also still deal with local control. As I've also brought up in the past regarding solar farms, which I do know that the state has the MPSC, Michigan Public Services Commission, that if the township does not have any regulations for solar farms, we don't even really get a seat at the table. So I don't know what you've learned or have anything to say about that in regards to solar farms, but I do know that they can pretty much rubber stamp them anywhere, but especially if the local townships or cities don't have any type of ordinance or zoning, then we don't even really get a seat at the table. So I believe that if you guys actually also are doing the data centers, also at the same time, perhaps look into the solar farms. I don't think we will have an issue with any type of wind farms due to the airport, but I don't know if that's necessarily a concern. But those are my things for you guys to talk about and discuss for in the future. So thank you. Keep up the good work.
It is fun. I'm having a blast. Josh Jordan, 5479 Whispering Timbers. Agenda item A, IT modernization. I'm definitely for. You can't spend enough on that. I'm shortly going to earn my master's in cybersecurity from Davenport University. And the case studies that I've done over and over again show that organizations that fail to invest in our IT infrastructure pay for it dearly. Item B, petition to strike the delinquent property taxes. Makes sense. Paperwork. It's part of the government. Resolution 009-2026 is just a natural outcome from our zoning ordinance update that we just had. Now we're considering 12-month moratorium, which will give the citizenry ample time to come before you, to become educated, and to make constructive dialogue with the township to make sure that, as the previous speaker just said, that we learn from other people. I urge you all to pass that. That just makes sense to do. And other than that, you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate you.
Article 7, approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion or discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Rizzi to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Financial actions, specifically invoices scheduled to be paid tomorrow, February 26th. Is there a motion or discussion?
Move to pay the bills.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Rizzi, supported by trustee Nordhook, to approve tonight's financial actions. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no unfinished business, Article 10, first item of new business, IT modernization, Part A. Consider approval of IT modernization plan as described, including associated one-time cost for service to I3 Business Solutions, $38,665, and net increase in annual licensing and service fees of $30,204. We have our building director, Brian Wilson, here tonight to present this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Supervisor and Board. I'm here to talk about the IT modernization. The RBA is in your packet. Basically, what we're doing is converting Active Directory to Microsoft Entra, all of our file storage from a physical server in our building to SharePoint, completely removing the physical server. Also, cloud backups and Microsoft Defender to increase the cybersecurity. The overall objective is to invest in IT systems that are necessary for efficient delivery of service to residents, provide safe storage for vital records in a secure environment that's protected from the ever-changing cyber threats. The reason I'm here tonight with this is because the main server that we've used is around 5 years old and is due for replacement. So we've also been talking about a business continuity plan in general to overall strengthen our network, provide redundancy and failover protections. So with those goals in mind, this cloud solution I think is the best option. Cloud is nothing new. A few years ago, we transitioned away from on-premise Exchange server. In 2024, our main software platform, SNA, went to a fully cloud version. So the industry is clearly moving in that direction, and these prior conversions kind of paved the way for this project. i3 Business Solutions has been our IT provider for over a year. During this time, we've replaced outdated firewalls, installed failover internet, and numerous PC replacement projects. They're familiar with our network and our operational needs. So after considering industry trends, security risks, i3 recommends the cloud option as the best IT posture for the organization. So I always want to bring a couple of options. In this case, I feel like I have two lesser options to talk about. The first one really is doing nothing, just continuing with our existing equipment, which we're at the risk of failure there. So that's not great. The second thing would be to purchase another physical server, basically extend our current systems. We've looked at the cost of that. It's around $50,000 for that. The big problem is it doesn't accomplish any of those business continuity plan goals, redundancy, backups. We're kind of left relying on warranties and maybe maintenance agreements. So finally, the project was reviewed by the governance committee, and I've spoken with Finance Director Nincherini, and we've confirmed that the expenditures are in the 2026 budget. That would be the $38,665 for i3 Business Solutions, one-time cost for service, and then considering the annual licensing increases for the Microsoft licensing we need to accomplish this. So with that, I'd like to introduce Brian Sweats. If you can come up here and help me out. I've got some backup for any technical questions you might have. He's the COO for I3, and I'll open it up to any questions.
My big question, Brian, was if we had it budgeted for this year, and you already answered that. The rest of that, I carry index cards and a pen in my pocket because I'm not IT smart. So I'll leave it up to the experts.
The annual licensing costs compared to what we're paying now year to year, is that going to be a budget concern down the road, or is it pretty reasonable?
Well,
I'm assuming we have some annual licensing costs now. So I'm assuming with everything cloud-based, the cost is a little higher probably.
yeah, it's significant. I mean, it's I think in the packet, it says it's around $21,000 in increase in annual licensing. Basically, it's upgrading the Microsoft licensing required to access the Entra system.
Okay. So that's the number every year. That's not just the first year.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a question. I3 is based where? In Grand Rapids. Okay, so you're very accessible to us if we need help. Thank you.
Additional discussion, questions, or motions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the IT modernization as presented by Brian. It sounds like it's going to be in the best interest of not only the township offices, but also for the residents. Security today is something that every time we punch onto a computer, we're concerned about. And also the backup, that we don't lose things. So with that, I make the motion to approve it.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Rizzi, to approve the IT modernization plan as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Brian. Next, petition to strike delinquent personal property taxes. Got Finance Director Nencherini. Welcome. Thanks for covering this on behalf of the Treasurer, of course.
Thank you, Supervisor and Board. As the RBA states, this is an annual process. The General Property Tax Act of 1893 is some thrilling reading. If you can't sleep at night, it is a very detailed process. Before you is a form that the treasurer is presenting to all local taxing units. So the 3 school districts, the intermediate school district, Kent County, all of the units are receiving this same form, looking for concurrence to write off now 6-year-old taxes, personal property taxes, and also to waive the many notifications that a court case requires. The total amount owing to the township is $2,900. Of that $2,900, $900 of it is interest and administrative fees. So really, it's about a $2,000 tax, a non-performing asset that we're looking to write off.
Questions? Discussion?
This is an annual housekeeping item, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Guess I'll make a motion to allow the clerk to do the waiver and consent form for the 2020 delinquent personal property taxes.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Rizzi, supported by trustee Nordhook, authorizing the township clerk to sign the waiver and the consent form striking the 2020 delinquent personal property taxes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Last item of new business, resolution 009-2026. Consider approval of an ordinance imposing a temporary moratorium on the issuance of permits, licenses, or approval for data centers. Manager Smith?
Thank you, Supervisor. So this is in your packet tonight, after some discussion with the recent adoption of our zoning amendment. This has come up, so I thought it was prudent that we actually impose a moratorium to give us time to work through that process. As I think it was mentioned at the last meeting, legal counsel mentioned that it's got to go through planning commission. So it does take a few months to work through this. So in the meantime, I thought this was a good idea to protect the community from, if we were to receive any applications, we've got this moratorium in place.
Trustee Dordick?
I would like to use some of this time to do a little fact finding, see what we can come up with. There's a lot of rumors, untruths out there about data centers, and if we're going to be making decisions on them, I think we should have some hardcore facts. So I think I'd like to do a temporary moratorium for like 6 months, form a committee, and have that committee do some fact finding, and then present what we find to the board here, and then they can go over to the, just so your information, you're all in the loop, and to go over to the planning commission so they have something to start working with.
Can I clarify? What kind of fact finding?
Oh, I heard a couple days ago that a data center uses 1 million gallons a day of water. And that's just not a true fact. So then there's the electric. It's going to raise all their electric bills. And then, of course, the State of the Union last night, our famous president made some comments on changing that, where they would be on-site power plants for each data center. Their sizing. What size data center would we want to do? Noise. We heard about pollution around to the neighbors, setbacks to residential properties. All of these things I'd like to get a committee to review, come up with hardcore facts and truths, and then present it so that we're not running out of rumors and fire, running around with your pants on fire stuff.
Which is why he wants 12 months.
That's why I want 6 months.
6 months to do your research, 6 months to put it together.
No, I like 6 months.
So just another clarification. What's proposed is a 12-month moratorium with the option for a 6-month extension. So are you saying you want that to be a 6-month moratorium with a 6-month extension?
I think we can wrap everything up in 6 months.
That's what we thought about the zoning too.
Yeah,
So, but
so let's wrap it all up in 6 months. So we got a committee.
Okay.
We can all go and work on it.
Hopefully it's not an issue, but just to be prudent, do you want to include the 6-month option to renew?
If we can't find enough stuff, yeah. But I don't think there's that many items that we have to really ferret through. So I want to get it right. If we're going to do something, I want to get it right. I don't want to get sued down the road because we basically said, we don't like you, you can't build out here.
Which is why more time is better than less.
You'll be surprised what I can get done in 6 months, Sue.
was that a motion, Timmy, or?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the temporary moratorium for 6 months so that we can have a committee work on a fact-finding truth to present to the planning commission so they have actual documents to work with.
Do you want to include that? Hopefully we don't have to use it, but that option to extend for 6 months if necessary?
I highly doubt we can, but I doubt we will.
Do we have to put an option to extend in, or can we just extend it when we get towards the end?
No, you would have to then adopt a new one. So you would go through the introduction, right?
Okay.
Again. So, I mean, you could do that. The way it's worded right now under section 4 of the term is will remain in effect for 12 months following the effective date of the ordinance or until data center regulatory amendments to the township zoning ordinance become effective, whichever occurs first. Before the moratorium expires, the township may, by resolution, extend the moratorium as appropriate up to an additional 6 months to allow sufficient time to complete amendments to the zoning ordinance. So I guess what I'm hearing is you want the initial to 6 and leave the rest with this possible extension by resolution.
I think we could do that.
point of clarification, if I could, Madam Supervisor. Part of your motion, I want to make sure I understand it, is to include subcommittee is appointed
Yes.
by the supervisor. How many members and where are those members coming from?
I would hope we got some board members on it. I'd be more than happy to volunteer to sit on that.
So,
I would,
yeah,
I would say, based on how we've done it in the past, 3, can't do 4.
Yeah.
Trustee Nordhook, trustee Nordyke, if you're willing.
sure.
Trustee Shipley, we need a generally negative.
Okay.
Willing and able,
Find John to be very positive.
Not a problem.
depending on the subject matter, just a
Wow.
balance.
Yeah,
Okay.
A watchdog would be a better
there
word.
we go.
Well,
Okay,
if that,
so-
was that a motion then?
There was a motion there.
I'll support it.
As far as I just want to make sure we get the right wording because it's the proposed resolution. Do you have any questions, Manager Smith or Attorney Holmier, on the actual language before, like for clarification before you make the motion?
No,
Vote.
no, but I think the board might want to do it in 2 motions. Dealing first with the resolution, adopting it as amended, which would be the initial 6 months, and then with the 6-month extension under section 4, and then you can go on to make a motion to create this subcommittee as just putting them together with one motion, adopting the resolution, introducing the ordinance doesn't work real well, but
As stated, motion. Go ahead. What he just said.
So first motion, trustee Nord, I'll make the first motion. Well, sorry,
You go ahead.
You made the motion.
Timmy, you go ahead with the first motion, adopting the proposed ordinance with
introducing.
introducing.
Introducing the first 6 months, the ordinance for the first 6 months on the resolution.
So the resolution as presented with the amendment changing 12 months to 6 months, otherwise as stated.
Correct.
Is there support for that motion?
Yes, I support it.
You see.
It's a motion by trustee Nordhook, supported by trustee Rizzi, to adopt or approve the proposed resolution with that one change. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Nordyke,
Yes.
trustee Ritzy,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
trustee Shipley,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes, supervisor Lesbrunz.
Yes, motion carried. Then I would make a motion to create a subcommittee, 3 members of the Board of Trustees, specifically trustee Rizzi, trustee
Nordyke. Shipley.
Shipley, Nordyke, and Nordhook for the
Right.
subcommittee.
Support.
That's a motion by Supervisor Lesbrunz, supported by trustee Rizzi, to create and adopt a temporary subcommittee for the purposes of data center amendments.
I need, so the subcommittee is only made up of 3 board of trustees. No staff involvement, no planning commission involvement.
Oh, excuse me, working with to clarify, they wouldn't be members of the subcommittee, but like all the subcommittees, 100% need staff and legal.
Can we make it Mike and Jade?
Yeah, but they're not members of the subcommittee.
No, but yeah, they're
Yeah.
supporting it. I mean, I
So
think
any
specifically,
staff and then also
yeah.
legal counsel.
Staff as needed.
The reality is you guys are going to be working with legal counsel and staff.
Mike's done a bunch of these. This will be
So that was a motion by Supervisor Lesbrunz, supported by trustee Rizzi, to create and appoint those members to the subcommittee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
You better get busy. We only got 6
Mike, we
months.
didn't really use you that well tonight, but we appreciate you available.
Oh, that's all right.
You're the one who wanted it shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
That concludes the board's business tonight, having no additional items. Article 12, public comments, whether they're on tonight's agenda items or anything. Again, please limit your time to 3 minutes and state your name and address for record keeping.
Dr. Josh Jordan, Whispering Timbers Drive. So I came here originally for my first meeting to talk about government's irresponsible and unresponsive response to deer. But however, the zoning was my first meeting in person. And from that, I saw a large amount of people. Now we're here talking about data centers to find out the facts about them, but no one's here. Not like last meeting. Citizen to me is a verb. To be a responsible citizen means to be involved in your local community. If only to know that a data center, according to the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, mid-size uses 300,000 gallons of water a day. I think some of our fellow citizens fail to see the big picture. They fail to see how a zoning update prevents the development of data centers that then could possibly prevent what I saw when I went to meet with our state representative, Phil Skaggs, a room full of people upset from our township about the discovery of PFAS chemicals in their water. And they wanted him to do something about that. It is sad to see the big picture, and it's sad to see that my fellow citizens are part-time participants in the democratic process. I only hope that with this new resolution and this 6 months fact finding that we can get the public involved with this, that they will come to the meetings to listen to Trustee Nordhook, Trustee Nordike, and Trustee Shipley and be involved and have their voice heard. So as Trustee Nordike quite eloquently stated, that we don't have a repeat of that zoning ordinance meeting kerfuffle, and that the citizens are informed and you are empowered to guide us as our elected officials. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Marlena Hugerwerf, Biscayne Way, Cascade, a resident here for 13 years. During the previous board meeting, I learned how Bob Camp was treated by the planning director, Hendrick. Well, I want to put on the record that Bob wasn't the only one. My husband and I were treated the same way. Miss Hendrick had lied and misled us both when she personally made decisions violating the existing private road ordinance. Her excuse at the time, I know that John Shipley, our trustee, knows about that excuse, was that the township didn't follow ordinances in the past, doesn't have to follow ordinances now. When having new ordinances, my question to the trustees, to the board, is does the planning director is obligated to follow ordinances? Legal, old, new. Just please clarify it for us. I believe that there are other Cascade property owners who were treated by Ms. Hendrick in the same arrogant manner. There were more decisions made in violation of the township ordinances. But I believe that Ms. Hendrick is not above the law. I believe that she is the employee of this township. If I'm wrong, correct me. I also believe, as the taxpayer in this township, I cover her salary and benefits, and I also believe, maybe I'm mistaken, that this board oversees the township employees on our taxpayers' behalf. Again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I urge the trustees to implement the policy of recording and logging all interactions of planning department with residents and property owners whose property rights, value, and use is being discussed and decided by the planning director, planning department, township officials. I urge this board to implement the policy of hiring as heads of township departments persons who live and own property in this township, so they have some incentive to act with integrity. The grifters from this county, that county, to further their political agenda, don't act, I believe, in my interest. I also demand that this board review legality and compliance with the township ordinances of the decisions of planning directors since 2024. Also, would be nice to know how much we spend as taxpayers for legal fees to cover up consequences of violating township ordinances. Example, Biscayne Way, Carrefour. Finally, I'm really appalled to hear at these meetings that how wonderful job Ms. Hendrick is
Thank
doing
you,
for
Ms.
this
Hoover.
township.
Ms. Hoover, to be fair to everybody, thank you. Your time has expired.
Okay, but I brought this to Madam Supervisor, to several board members. Please
Thank you.
take this under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, all. I'm Robert Cribbs, Abbydale Estates. I'm just going to read this because I don't want to get off script. But the reason I'm standing here is regarding the comments that were made at the township meeting on February the 11th. That meeting focused on the board's vote to approve the new zoning ordinance. From what I observed, the opinions were about evenly split among residents, realtors, and developers. The board passed it 4-3 to replace the old ordinance from the 70s. I'm not in full agreement with the new plan, maybe 85%. But like any zoning ordinance, it can be amended if needed in the future. After the vote, a speaker by the name of Jeremiah Grucho used public comments time not to discuss zoning, but to accuse two board members of favoritism and collusion in appointing the township treasurer. Claims that were unfounded, not true, and frankly inappropriate for the public record. I've attended nearly all meetings over the last 18 months. I know most of the board members personally, and I have worked alongside several. Hearing false accusations made publicly without any evidence was frustrating, unfair, and actually made me angry. That's why I didn't speak last week. Mr. Gutschov, that was the first time I've seen him at one of the meetings. It's fine to disagree about policy, but making personal accusations without facts is wrong. You've had questions you could have asked the board members directly instead of publicly attacking them. I've witnessed our treasurer act responsibly and protect township funds, moving money from less stable banks and finding ways to improve our financial position. That's the type of diligence we should recognize, not criticize. While we may not always agree, I respect everyone on this board and the work being done for our township. In my view, Mr. Gorcho owes the board, and especially those two accused, a public apology. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comments? Manager comments.
Thank you, Supervisor. One point that was brought up earlier tonight was in regards to an ordinance or some sort of regulations on the wind and solar. I just want to remind everybody that we did pass a compatible renewable energy ordinance back in November of 2024. So that ordinance has been on the books for almost a year and a half. So we are covered there. And I guess just some parting comments is that I take pride in the staff that we have at Cascade Township, and I think that everybody has the best interest of the community. Everybody does have their faults, but I will say that our staff acts with integrity and enforces the ordinances as they are written. I cannot speak on behalf of staff or employees of the township prior to my time. So it's unfortunate that some are criticized, but we do abide by the laws of the words of the ordinance in facting that, and especially any other policy that would be in place throughout the township. And if there are concerns with employees or myself that something is wrong, it would come to me and we can work through those issues. That goes to the community at large with any issues that they have. That's all I have.
Board comments. Trustee Shipley.
First of all, thanks for coming tonight. I do wish that it was packed more than what it is tonight. Scott, Josh, Marlena, and Ron, and Ken, we hear from you quite frequently. We appreciate that. And I'm sure everybody is aware of some of the bills that are being presented in Lansing that may take the regulations, ordinances out of our hands. For instance, affordability of small homes for first home buyers may include and I have not read the legislation that's being introduced, but may include tiny homes, additional living facilities in residential areas, and even duplexes and triplexes in residential R1 areas. So it'll be interesting to see what Lansing's overreach is going to do to our ordinances, whether it's the old ordinances or the new ordinances. Those people that want high density, guess what? You may get your way. We'll have to wait and see.
Trustee Nordike.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. For those of you who came for the data center zoning, there's 3 of us up here who are on a subcommittee. If you have specific opinions or thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for everybody who made a public comment. We hear you. Thank you.
Trustee Rizzi.
Thank you for coming. It's always good to see people in the audience. That's where we get our direction from.
Trustee Nordhook.
All set. Thank you for coming.
Clerk Slater.
No comments.
Supervisor Lesperance. I just want to say to Ms. Hooverhoff, Ms. Hooverhoff, I appreciate your comments, and I was very up to date on that situation on Biscayne Way. And based on everything I've heard, we spent significant time with Foster Swift analyzing all of it and significant resources on the township. And that was one of the motivations for, in the new ordinance, cleaning up parts that were contradictory or sloppy, particularly about the private roads. Biscayne Way was on the top of mind when we did that. But I disagree, although I realize you're upset about it and the developments affected you personally. I disagree that our planning director had any personal motivations or that any wrongdoings by staff affected the outcome. The reality was the law is what it is, and we didn't really have a choice ultimately when all the facts flushed out. So appreciate you taking the time to come, and I understand you're frustrated. I just, unfortunately, the outcome, I think, was what it was based on the law and past sloppy ordinances or past sloppy enforcement, but not because of any current wrongdoings. And then I just had a question for Attorney Holmier. What are we at risk right now if we hadn't adopted that temporary moratorium?
Well, so I want to make clear, right, this was a resolution to introduce it because the township has to introduce it before it adopts it. So you can't adopt it actually until your March meeting. So you never know what you don't know. Like, I don't know, formally at least, I'm not aware of the township being contacted by anybody for a data center.
I don't think we have to date.
But you also don't have any specific data center regulations, and that's going to allow the Planning Commission, the township, to consider those regulations. So what we've done is address the activity, which is the issuance of permits or approvals for that while that process is taking place. And then the Planning Commission, along with the board, will have should have ample time to then work out that language about, you know, the where, the how big, under what conditions, those types of issues.
Do you have any insight about that proposed, I'd say, overreach of Lansing about the, what Trustee Shipley was talking about?
Yeah. I gotta watch what I say.
You work for us, so I kind of feel like you could be biased on this one, but.
Yeah, it's garbage. And
Thanks for watching what you're saying.
I have said for years, I mean, take for instance, gravel mining, renewable energy, short-term rentals, now zoning, right? And it's a consistent erosion of local control. I mean, think about it and Trustee Shipley was right. There's a provision, one of the introduced bills would prohibit the township from acquiring larger parcel than 1,500 square feet when served with water and sewer. 1,500 square feet. Now, that might work in some urban centers, but it doesn't work as a one-size-fits-all approach across the state, and that's sort of the problem here. So, not to mention, you know, we are also expecting additional proposed legislation that would allow mobile homes to be placed in any single-family residential neighborhood.
Without the, any feedback or authorization from the local municipality?
That's right. Yeah. And so it's just this constant attack on local control. And, you know, I've said for years, as I've sort of battled the renewable energy mandates across the state that, Lansing thinks that they're smarter than everybody else or that you're too stupid to figure it out for yourself. And I find it insulting. So, and I represent local government across the state. And there is not a one size fits all approach. Every community is different, and every community should be able to decide for themselves what their community looks like in terms of land use.
And what other decisions really does the local unit of government at the most local level get to make other than zoning and collecting taxes for all the other larger entities?
Yeah, I mean, there are some others, right? Like zoning and say industrial tax abatements, right? You get some say. I mean, you don't have final say, but you at least have some input. But you're right, zoning and land use is one of those big factors. And if you look at MTAs against it, MMLs against it, right? And I think they likely, I don't want to speak for them, but they probably see it the same way. It's just constant erosion of local control. And the further you get away from this township board, the less say you will have as a member of that community.
Amen. Is there anything you can recommend that we do as a board on this one?
Yeah, contact your legislators. And MML, I think, has a letter you can sign objecting to it online, and it's really easy to do. So
yeah, both the MTA and MML have it. I think I sent it to all of you yesterday.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
We do have a closed session. Do we need the statute specifically for that?
Yeah, so it's 15.268(1)(h) to consider a written confidential legal opinion, which is exempt pursuant to state or federal law.
Thank you.
So we need a roll call.
With that, is there a motion, or I'll make the motion to go into closed session pursuant to 15.2681 section H to review a written legal opinion exempt by law from the Open Meetings Act.
I'll second.
Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Ritzy,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
Supervisor Lesbrance,
Yes.
trustee Norddyke,
Yes.
trustee Shipley,
Yes.
and clerk Slater.
Motion carried. We are now in closed session. Thank you for all for coming tonight.
Make a motion to return to normal session.
Or
It's a motion by trustee Rizzi, supported by trustee Nordhook to return to normal session. All in favor?
I
Opposed?
make a motion to adjourn.
support.
It's a motion by trustee Rizzi, supported by trustee Nordhook to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
See ya.